In the fathomless embrace of the ocean's depths, where darkness flows as a living current, a haunting glow throbs, a soft, trembling light rippling through the liquid veins of an ancient city, sculpted not in stone, but woven from shifting water and emotion. Imagine drifting through the cobalt shadows where silence is not empty, but a heavy pulse swelling like a deep resonance wrapping around your skin. A silence so profound it hums softly with the weight of forgotten emotions. Here, beneath the endless waves, a sunken city breathes faintly, an eternal dream adrift within time's slow spiral. Its presence both a memory and a living light tree, casting triple spiral reflections into the still sea. Around this shimmering remnant, familiar yet alien murmurs, secrets of vibrant lives now folded quietly into the fabric of the ocean itself. Each flicker of bioluminescent lanterns like soft stars, heartbeat vessels pulsing with the resonance of souls long past. These lanterns glow with an ebb and flow of light. Their trembling currents echo the silent sighs of emotion-held memories, each one a fragile orb stained with laughter's lightness and sorrow's depth, suspended delicately between the realms of what was dreamt and what remains unspoken. They illuminate the shadows, as if painting with whispers, their light folding seamlessly into the silent song of the currents, weaving a bittersweet dance of laughter as feathery as deep water fog, and tears interlaced with the endless ocean floor's sinewy texture. In this abyss, darkness is not void, but a living canvas, etched with the tremulous heartbeat of time itself, waiting to be stirred awake by a heart capable of tuning into its reverberations. Imagine the fragile caress of the water, shifting softly against your skin, threaded with the whispers of dreams, forgotten love, lost in the resonance of tides that hold the city's memories like delicate threads of light. Can you feel the weight of longing tangled within the currents, stories caught between flow and stillness, each a shimmering pulse of emotion carried on the water's breath? The city's tides swayed gently like a symphony of intertwined stories, some radiant with triumph, others heavy with the melancholia of endings, stitched seamlessly into the emotional architecture of this sacred underwater realm. The city's allure pulses with the promise of revelation, a resonance calling to those who come close, not through sound, but through the deep language of light and feeling. It beckons the wanderer to listen, not with ears, but with the soul's inner rhythm, to let the dim echoes of unforgotten emotion ripple softly through the mind. What awakening might that long muted spirit require? What heartbeat resonating with the triple spiral of memory might restore the city's forgotten luminescence? As you drift deeper into this submerged reality, the weight of longing entwines with a fragile hope, forming a melody that weaves through the watery labyrinth, inviting you to become part of the eternal dance. Here, within Thalara's depths, memories linger not as fading traces, but as living, breathing shadows, alive in light and emotion, etched into water and memory stone alike. Can you hear the quiet song, an unsteady whispered thread unspooling across the resonance of time? It calls gently, summoning you to envision, rekindling a light long shadowed to feel with a heart brave enough to hold memory's fragile flame. What stories lie dormant waiting for the touch of a resonant soul to unfold their luminous truth. The light beneath the waves waits patient and unyielding, yearning for a heart willing to remember, to feel, to ignite its ancient buried magic once again. Beneath the tranquil surface of the Liora Ocean, a world swathed in shifting blues and deep shadows unfurls. A city woven not from stone, but from the living currents of memory and emotion, bathed in a subtle light that transcends mere existence. Here, in this submerged sanctuary, silence reigns, a presence thick and palpable. A delicate tapestry of forgotten voices brushing against the senses like the softest water-woven caress. Each shimmering lantern, a fragile pulse of light trembling gently through the vast gloom, holds a story flickering with the lingering echoes of joy and longing. The kaleidoscope of emotions once breathed into this submerged script of time. The sea air clings with the scent of salt and unspoken narratives, humming quietly with a resonance both soothing and laced with melancholic undertones. Unseen currents, silent and alive, spiral thoughtfully around ancient structures, flowing effortlessly through archways and vaulted ceilings that rise elegantly toward the ocean's veiled depths, all sculpted from water itself, breathing, shifting, vibrant with the emotions of those who once dwelled here. In this city, a realm where sound dares not wander, memory pulses as lifeblood, illuminating dark corridors with incandescent spectrums brighter than molten gold, flooding the veins of living stone with shades of emotion that ripple and pulse like heartbeat light. The architecture itself breathes and responds, bending softly to the whispers of emotional currents carried by its inhabitants, matching the subtle rise and fall of their hearts' tides. In a domain where the past weighs heavy, yet cradles like a sanctuary, memories are not relics to hoard, but living pulses capable of conjuring architecture into form, reconstructing what time's tide sought to dissolve. Within this ethereal expanse, drifting shadows weave and mingle, the ghostly remnants of those who once danced here, their luminous forms flickering like the last embers of a cherished fire. They weave through the spaces between moments, their laughter and sorrow resonating gently through ancient and renewed halls, whispering stories hidden beneath briny layers of the deep. Here dwell the forgotten faces, the delicate echoes of a world once thriving, held softly in the embrace of an unrelenting tide that seeks to pull them into silence. Within this stillness, a singular thought unfurls, a whisper of vulnerability. How quickly we forget the unseen, how easily the bonds that tie us to our past unravel beneath the mask of daily life. Luminous pearls of light float languidly among the drifting memories, revealing a sacred truth. Remembrance is a bond woven of light and soul, an ethereal tapestry connecting the living with what was lost. Each flicker, a gentle reminder, every shaft a delicate bridge spanning the chasm of time, breathing light and life into the fabric of existence. Yet the coil of oblivion tightens, a silent serpent that threatens to unravel this fragile weave. With every ebbing tide, luminous sentinels of memory tremble under the growing weight of unspoken longings, sensing forgetfulness, stalking nearer, a creeping shadow, poised to dissolve what remains. These are the lingering moments, the pulse of a heartbeat, the warmth of a smile, the faint echoes that hold these bones of memory standing firm against the relentless tides of passing time. In the heart of this sunken domain, a solitary child wanders, a soft silhouette tracing the flickering glow. Untouched by time's burden, Liora moves with innocent curiosity, her spirit unrestrained as she senses the symphony of emotions swirling like liquid light around her. She drifts through this realm of echoes, unbound by memories, yet drawn by their hum, peering into glowing lanterns whose light dances within her eyes. 1,000 stories, yearning awake, the purity of her spirit, stirring dormant hearts and tangled whispers. She stands on the cusp of rebirth, a living conduit between past and present, her innocent flame poised to breathe light into the hushed corners that wait endlessly to be remembered. Here, where memories flicker like candle flames trembling in the dark and emotions surge with the tides, the sunken city of Thalara reveals itself, fully waiting patiently for a heart untouched by fear, ready to venture beyond the silent threshold. As the living light dances about her, each flicker bearing witness to fragile threads stretching between what was and what is, Liora embodies the last remaining flame, unyielding a spark, willing to ignite the whispers of forgotten histories, calling them gently back from the place where they had slipped away. The city, poised on the edge of darkness, holds its breath, a luminous heart pulsing softly against the inexorable weight of the sea, waiting for a name to be murmured, a light to be touched, and a memory to awaken. In the heart of the Thalara Ocean, submerged beneath undulating layers of liquid light that pulse with ancient heartbeats, rests an unshakable truth. Every heartbeat is laden with the weight of memories, yet whispered in silence. What if deep within this silent city of shimmering currents there flows a name like a river of soft light, steady, nourishing the very essence of life beneath the waves? We wander through existence like drifting currents, tracing corridors of time that ripple endlessly, leaving behind glowing echoes like fragile footprints etched in shimmering light sand, worn by tides, but never truly erased. Yet what becomes of those echoes when they dissolve into the deep tide, abandoned in shadow depths as we move onwards? Perhaps forgetting that these delicate streams, too long for the tender touch of remembrance. Could it be that forgetting is itself a subtle wound, carved deep into the soul of those left adrift beneath the waves? Within the gentle turquoise currents that shimmer with every breath, a question stirs like a slow-growing light. How does one awaken the slumbering memory of a city once bright with laughter and sorrow, woven through the ribbons of emotional resonance? How can one rekindle the city's emotional heart, traced through the soft echoes of sighs and joy, still trembling in the tides? Before us, the path unfolds like a shimmering spiral through shadowed depth, where unseen swells pulse with quiet resonance begging to be acknowledged in the hollow silence between waves. Each moment drips like a droplet of liquid light, catching the fragile hues of dawn, waiting to be gathered, held, and released. But beneath this soft veil of darkness, a question shimmers like an oscillating script scribed in light. What name possesses the breath to awaken silence itself? The curious child, Liora, wanders in innocent light, her breath flickering like a pure flame, untouched by bitterness or forgetting. With each tender pulse, she sends ripples of hope, gentle waves stirring the shadowed corners, coaxing the city's narrative from its deep slumber. One must wonder, does Liora carry the resonance strong enough to bridge the gulf between forgotten memories and the waking world of dreams? In swirling tides of shifting light, she unwittingly seeks not only to illuminate the suspended echoes, but to intertwine the delicate threads of those who have become spectral fragments. Their lives, laughter, and love imprinted like faint, glowing traces upon the aquatic cradle of dream. What dance of fate, woven in triple spirals of emotion, light, and resonance, binds her spirit to theirs? Is there an unbroken thread of luminous longing weaving tenderly through consciousness, caressing the delicate edge between remembering and forgetting, like a soft whisper born on an ocean breeze of silent water birds? Liora feels the echoes pressing gently against her skin, sensing their yearning and nostalgia as though wrapped in cherished, hidden stories folded beneath the rippling veil of time. And so she dives deeper, drawn into the living heart of this enigma, seeking answers that shimmer just beyond reach. A melody stirs within her, a hum, fragile and tentative, coaxing itself from her lips like the pulse of a hidden resonance. This chant begins as a barely there vibration, yet within the water's embrace it expands and flows, the very fabric of the city quivering in response to her call. Could this be the resonance she has sought in dreams around her? The world pulses with awakening light, stirring in quiet accord with her unvoiced longings as if urging her onward. Yes, yes, to remember. Yes, to breathe life anew into the stories long folded away in shadowed groves of liquid memory. Deeper in the shimmering depths, memories stir and sway, tender orbs of light responding with the delicate unfolding of petals beneath dawn's embrace, blossoming utterly into vivid recollections. The echoes once stranded in silence rise now in a radiant tapestry, sweeping through the currents with threads of pure trembling light to paint a history that belongs not only to the city, but to her alone. Charged with an electric surge of longing, Liora's heart beats in perfect synchrony with the luminous weave of metamorphosis of echoes into her own living memory. Warmth spreads through her, a growing awareness that all she has yearned for has patiently waited in these depths, cradled like precious light within ocean's palms. And yet, with the fragile beauty of this awakening, blooms a shadow, an anxious tremor lacing the edges of her spirit. Could her tender heart bear the intensity unfurling now as the sharp flickers of memory ignite around her? Fear coils tightly, wrapping shadows of uncertainty about her soul. Can she enfold the stories whispered by buoyant souls within lantern light? If roused fully, will these memories retain their vivid flame or drift once more into the abyssal silence lost to the echoing dark? The delicate beauty of shared memory is a double-edged prism. each sharp facet shimmering with creation's possibility, yet haunted by the ghost of inevitable loss. And still poised at this liminal threshold, Liora closes her eyes, breathing in the glow of swirling figures encircling her. She senses their fears, their hopes, their dreams, entwined with her own heartbeat, enfolding her with the warmth of a voracious embrace. In this sacred communion, she becomes a vessel for unforgotten truths, a living bridge spanning the threshold between worlds. With steady resolve, she calls once more to the hiding past her voice, steady as a rhythmic chant, coaxing forgotten names from the depth into shimmering light. Can her fragile heart carry the weight of history, guiding those longing souls back from the silent chasms into the luminous surface of consciousness? Can Liora in innocence transform the cold tide of forgetfulness into a flowing current of remembrance? As she reaches into the oceanic cradle of forgotten echoes, the story unfolds anew, drawing all closer to the unexplored edge where recognition flickers faint but undeniably. Alive, a fragile light cradled in the palms of time. As Liora ventured deeper into the twilight realm of the sunken city, an electrifying current of urgency hummed through her veins, a pulse resonating with the triple spiral rhythm of emotion, light, and memory that formed the breath of Liora. The lanterns forged not from flame, but from living water and oscillating light intensified their glow and pulsed in hypnotic cadence, synchronizing with her growing resolve, as if the city itself breathed in welcome, recognizing her sacred intent to weave the fragile thread between the forgotten and the remembered. Around her, the ocean's gentle hum transformed into a tapestry of resonance, a symphony stitched from the whispered echoes of ancients interlaced through the swirling currents, each note cascading like shimmering grains of lighted sand carried on the deep blue tide. She moved with a grace woven by instinct and emotional resonance, her presence stirring the long dormant shadows from the fathoms below, coaxing them to unfurl the secret stories held brittle within their watery embrace. With every step, she felt the pulsing heart of the city, a steady throb beneath layers of shimmering memory, its rhythm entwined with her own quickening with expectant anticipation. Beneath the glow of forgotten light, the ancient walls of living water vibrated softly in response, reverberating with the captive echoes of emotions long sealed inside, yearning to be freed into the resonance of now. Drawn by an unnameable yearning to awaken these whispered gems, Liora ventured along the shimmering serpentine corridors, her fingertips skimming the undulating surfaces that thrummed beneath her touch, reliving the tides of sentiment from those who once called this sanctuary home. Each caress sang with unfulfilled dreams, with the tremor of love lost in silence, laughter blooming and then fading among forgotten gatherings, all imprinted within the flowing liquid architecture, still breathing with the electric pulse of unseen emotions. Through the veil of memory, the tides swirled and teased, and in that fragile moment of connection, the whispers gathered strength and flickered alive, transforming from delicate wisps into vivid specters, dancing fireflies, summoned by twilight's beckon, swirling around her in luminous constellations. She felt their sorrowful tales tugging tenderly at her heart, each story unfolding like a petal, softened by the dawn, delicate and raw gossamer threads of light woven intricately into the fabric of all existence. But as their soft resonances filled the water with fragile waves of emotion, a shadow of doubt began to slip into Leora's mind, a cool flicker cast by the shimmering veil of light. Among these blossoms of memory, would her voice truly be powerful enough to rouse the ocean's deep, sleeping heart? The weight pressed heavily upon her spirit, coaxing a hesitation to rise where fear dared not linger. Yet the flickering shapes pressed closer, images gleaming like pale mist beneath the moon, and a flicker of fragile defiance kindled within her, a whispering pulse pushing doubt aside. Closing her eyes, she surrendered into the fragile weave of whispers, letting herself be carried away on the currents of their intertwined histories. Drawing a breath steeped in the ocean's very essence, she called their names into the liminal light around her, letting the syllables ripple through the water like gentle waves brushing coral shorelines. The child's sincere plea vibrated through the silence, a tender thread woven of 1,000 lives' echoes. Awaken you who have been lost. She breathed her voice, a fragile yet unwavering filament interlacing through the currents of remembrance. In that crucial heartbeat, the light quivered, an exquisite tremor of anticipation coursing through the living water, radiating outward in incandescent waves that shattered the surface of forgetfulness. Then, as if summoned by her invocation, the flickering shades began to coalesce, swirling ever closer amid the tides of emotion. At last, their outlines took shape, formless ghosts reaching grasping hands toward solid ground, yearning to arc the chasm between the living and the forgotten. Each shadow bore untold stories etched in light heartbreak and resolution laughter, suspended just at the edge of waking recognition. They spilled forth from the memory walls into her very heart, merging with the rhythm of her own pulse, challenging her to stand steadfast against the tidal surge of their histories. Momentum built the once faint whispers, blossomed into a symphony of incandescent light, a pulsating dance of recollection weaving through the oceanic depths. The waters trembled beneath the force of shared energy, shaking loose the shrouds of quiet despair that had clung like chains for eons. And in that sacred space within her, Liora felt a surge of radiant warmth and connection, knowing it was not merely the memories that held power, but the very essence of those who dared to love, who suffered loss, who lingered in shadow, yet yearned for dawn. In a whirlwind of shifting colors and shimmering light, the echoes took solid form around her, their brilliance breathing life anew into the city, casting sparkling reflections across the living water that enveloped them all. Liora witnessed the rebirth of long-forgotten memories, tasting the warmth of camaraderie, inhaling the intoxicating spice-laden air, and hearing laughter mingling with soothing waves crashing on coral shores, fragments of existence enfolding her in their shimmering embrace, woven from the very threads of eternity. Yet with joy came the weight of every heartbreak, an aching reminder that memory's light must carry shadow, that without the scars etched deep in love's embrace, the story would be incomplete. Amidst this emotional tempest, Liora stood as a beacon between what was and what might yet be. As the luminescent figures danced and twirled, leaning into her as if seeking the heartbeat of their lost identity. A moment of beauty bloomed fragile vulnerability, crackling with electric tension over the delicate filaments binding past and present. And there, in that breathtaking dance, Liora understood memories are not mere echoes. They are living threads of light and shadow, weaving all beings into the eternal dance of being. The city stirred awake, pulsed with newfound joy and yearning, whispering patient reminders that every heartbeat resonated through the depths, urging her to hold firm at the threshold between the known and the infinite unknown, ready to embrace what awaited beyond the horizon. This journey had only just begun. As the luminous waves surged forward, a flicker of hope ignited within her, a promise that through her innocence and love, the sunken city might reclaim its lost heartbeat. Together, they might breathe light back into the souls who had long since dissolved into the eternal currents, calling them home to the shimmering embrace of memory. The dance had begun. In that electrifying moment, the very fabric of the submerged city quivered, its currents weaving through living water structures that pulsed with awakened memories. At the epicenter stood Liora, enveloped in a luminous tempest, beings of radiant light swirling in spirals around her, their heartbeats merging in a luminous resonance that echoed long-lost collective truths. The ocean itself seemed to part, casting a shimmering portal alive with the flickering shadows of stories once silenced beneath endless waves. A sea of scintillant light cascaded hues of molten gold and deep cerulean intertwined in a dance, each pulse scripting tales etched beneath the tide's memory. Memories unfolded like delicate petals, adrift in a gentle underwater breeze, tangible and breathing their essence palpable against the living water's cool embrace. Laughter untethered and bright rippled through the crystalline halls, reverberating in the very essence of structures that had once cradled it through millennia. Faces emerged, familiar and spectral etched, with dreams, unrealized hopes, tangled like seaweed, drifting in a slow currents. Joy surged within her, an unstoppable wave washing over her heart's silken membrane, awakening her to the truth that memories were alive, no longer whispers, submerged, but bold, vivid declarations of existence. Yet, woven within the jubilant awakening, flowed a tide of sorrow, deep and heavy as a weighty current, pressing upon her soul. The radiant figures flickered like fragile flames caught in a tempest, some alit with joy, others wavering beneath chains of lingering, unresolved longings. These paradoxes, the interlacing of light and shadow, joy and grief, crashed over her like tidal waves of feeling, each pulse echoing the intertwined lives held fast by the currents of time. Then came the profound surge, a force that ripped through her very essence, unraveling hidden depths of stories steeped in melancholy and fierce beauty. Every connection, whether gleaming with light or shadowed by loss, wove Liora deeper into the shimmering tapestry of shared memory. She inhaled deeply, feeling lightning cracks spread wide across her chest as emotion broke free, Tears blurred her gaze, falling like liquid light droplets into the living water that cradled her form. The sorrow of forgotten names pressed down, anchoring her heart with the steady and resolute weight of remembrance. She was no mere witness, but the living embodiment of generations past. She was the voice that had summoned them forth. Now, as the flood of memories broke like waves upon the shores of her consciousness, she bore their stories, their regrets, their joys, their silent laments. The answer came roaring within her, a resounding yes. For in this sacred chaos, she grasped the true pulse of memory, a blessing embraced tightly with a weight, a thread joining souls across untold ages. Surrendering to the waves, Liora allowed joy and sorrow to flood through her veins, the glowing figures weaving closer, their forms entwining with her very light. She became both herald and echo, a vessel carrying every lost name, every bittersweet laugh, and whispered tear pouring back into the sacred weave. As these luminescent beings danced around her, their brilliance kindled her own, and she shone like the full moon's silver light cast upon the sleeping shore, illuminating the deepest truths within her heart. Each resonant pulse blossomed with gratitude, love, and remembrance, weaving their bygone pasts seamlessly into her present. She understood then that carrying their essence meant embracing both joy and sorrow, walking a path carved in raw, shimmering authenticity. And in this revelation, Liora rose no longer a mere child, but a radiant vessel, brimming with stories, ready to carry the collective heartbeat of Thalara back to the forgotten world above. As the brilliant life of the sunken city pulsed around Liora, she found herself enveloped in a living mosaic of shimmering light and fluid memory. The laughter and sorrows of countless souls wove together, their emotional resonance pouring through the shimmering currents like cascading ribbons of color and warmth. Each whispered echo slid along the water's breath, pressing tenderly against her heart, urging her to cradle the sacred weight of their legacy. No longer merely a wanderer lost within this murmuring deep, Liora had become a radiant beacon, a lighthouse glowing fiercely against the slow sighs of encroaching darkness. Yet, beneath the shimmering revelation, beneath the joyful cascade of luminous echoes, a lingering question stirred a ripple of doubt that danced softly beneath the water's sheen. How could she honor these shimmering beings of light, these living memories as they surged forth, reclaiming their stories beneath the unyielding tides of time? The ocean itself seemed to pause its currents, trembling and folding in subtle rhythms, as if listening for an answer she had not yet spoken aloud. In that silent moment, held taut between ebb and flow, Liora grasped the fragile beauty of existence here, the weight of joy intertwined deeply with sorrow's shadow. The essence of memory, she realized, is not a rigid clasp, but a gentle passing, a current flowing endlessly through her, being like the living waters sculpted by the city's breath. This flow nourished the roots of kinship, binding them all in luminous threads that shimmered with every heartbeat and shimmered with every pulse of unseen Would her heart endure the tender burden of remembrance? She wondered the strength to carry these truths, to cradle their voices even when shadows lingered stubbornly within the radiant glow. Suddenly, the luminescent figures surged closer, their ethereal forms rippling with vibrant energy, surrounding her like an embrace of resonant light. They urged her forward toward that fragile balance where memory and feeling entwined, a place where past and present sang together in waves of living water and light. With each step, Liora took the city's walls, shimmered and flickered alive with iridescent bursts of radiant energy that illuminated the nebulous path ahead. She felt the weaving pulse of every memory threading through her like a luminous current, a silken lifeline connecting past, present, and future in a radiant spiral resonating deep within the ocean's heart. This vibrant light pulsed with the rhythm of an unfaltering heartbeat, a reminder of her sacred purpose to become the living bridge between worlds, carrying their voices onward, spreading the echoes of laughter, love, and longing. And so, perched on the edge of all she had discovered, she prepared to carry the weight of their light back toward the surface. She knew this radiance would ripple through time itself, its whispers weaving through the currents of possibility, breathing their names and stories to all who dared to listen. Would the world above embrace these voices? Would hearts open to the shimmering echoes of those who came before? The waters of the Liora ocean gleamed with promise, shimmering with memory and hope, folded into every shimmering wave, waiting, endlessly waiting to guide her upward